Hello, and welcome to the very first live for 2026. It's been a long time. I miss everybody here, and I come in with a completely new topic. Across in the past months, I think that my previous live that I did was actually in November, and that was before a lot of changes that was happening in my household. My helper left, and oh, is there a filter going on? I think it is, but yeah. Okay, my helper left, and we went for Taiwan, and I came back. I was maidless. A lot of things were going on. My kid was at home all the time. I was sick for 3 weeks. It was so insane, but I am so happy to be back, and it's a completely new look, completely new vibe, a lot more upgraded topics, and especially for women. It took me some time before it came. I think I always wanted to speak to women specifically, and I think it's only like right now after the past 5 years of inner work, which was very challenging. I was very challenging, and this time round, especially coming in and sharing about the how to be a high vibration woman. This term is something that we don't see on Instagram very often. We don't see on the internet unless you actually specifically search. But what does it mean to be a high vibration woman? Is it somebody who, is always smiling all the time, always happy, positive? Absolutely not. Okay, this woman, before she calls herself to be a high vibration woman, she has gone through immense emotional challenges, physical challenges, mental challenges, and I'm here to share with you my experience so that you can get there too. Because when you are in this state of high vibration, it is an inner state of being. It is not like putting on this happy face, thinking positive, as compared to positive books, self-help books, which I have of course went through that stage before. I went through that whole, in fact, that was before I had kids. I was reading self-help books all the time until it came to a point that, there was something that was still stuck from within. I went into coaching. I discovered a whole new world of psychology as well as belief system, past wounds, trauma, shadow work, and so on. And there it begins my journey. And when I was actually discovering a lot of, how to be a high vibration, it wasn't something that, it was my destination. I wanted to get there. It was only after I went through a lot of tears, a lot of pain, breakups in my own identity, a lot of breakups, especially with some relationships that didn't turn out well for my future. And then it came to a point where I was at this stage, and so I am a high vibration woman. I have all these signs of being empathetic, compassionate, heightened intuition, having magical synchronicities, coincidences, or whatsoever. And it took me some time, especially in the past 2 to 3 weeks, before I decided that yes, this is the topic that I feel more women, especially in Singapore, should be educated. I mean, not even in Singapore, the world should know about, because we are not fighting just against our partners or our jobs per se. We're actually fighting a whole patriarchal values that was, it started from don't know when, for since forever. Okay, and it's very challenging. It's very challenging when we are told to people please, when we are told to, always say yes, never say no, have very flimsy boundaries, because if you set tough boundaries, firm boundaries, it's gonna make somebody unhappy, but you end up compromising yourself. At the end of it, you are the one gonna go through emotional burnout. And this is especially true, especially for mothers, which is also a big theme that I'm going to be talking about. Motherhood healed me a lot when I can see my first child experience and my second child experience was totally different. And then the missing gap was really because of all the I was confronting all my fears, I was confronting all of my shadows, and hey, so nice to see you. Yeah, I was confronting all of my shadows, I was confronting all of these fears that were all in my head with a lot of courage. And when I overcame them, it felt so relieving, because I can be my authentic self. I can be whole again. I don't have to put on this front. I don't have to put on this face where, everything seems to be okay on the outside, but inside I'm tearing, inside I'm nervous, I'm anxious, which we were all taught to have that mask. We were all taught to have that mask. So let's just dive in. Okay, so what is becoming a high vibration woman? 5 ways to transform your life, your love, and of course your self-worth. And this would actually be the full class training. Normally what I do, I just only talk about it briefly for 10 minutes, and then it's all saved into this special vault that is only meant for paying customers. Okay, people who actually pay me a certain fee, they then have access to all these videos. But this time round, especially until end of this month, I will be giving away the training absolutely free right now. IG live and Facebook live. I haven't done YouTube live and LinkedIn live, but I will be doing that. Okay, it's actually my first time doing simultaneous lives. I thought, like, I don't have a lot of time, being a full-time stay-at-home mother now, and also being an entrepreneur, so I better make my time worth. So I'm gonna do it simultaneously. I don't know how. I'm just gonna figure it out, and then I'll be teaching you in my social media courses. Okay, so let us go into what does it mean to be a high vibration woman. And this is actually a very difficult stage, to be honest. It is not easy at all if you want to be somebody that calls your worthiness in all areas of your life, in your job, with money, with husband, with your partner. And even if you are not married, this particularly applies to you, because you'll probably be dating and trying to find the right man for yourself. Okay, trying to find the right man for yourself. With whatever stage that we are in, especially for women, whether we are married or whether we are single, we encounter this problem on measure on always trying to prove our worth, always trying to hustle, always trying to show that we are the better choice. But the truth is that there's actually no need to hustle, there's no need to prove our worth, but we have been unconsciously programmed that way. And I have so much experiences. Like, when I look back on my past, I was leading a whole life of chasing for validation, proving in my job, hustling for money at the expense of my own health. And even when I also became a mother, I had unknown a lot of the hustle doesn't change. The hustle is still in our society. It permeates our society in all areas. We are living in a masculine society, and the only way for us to live that old life is when we get to shed away all of this wounded masculine on the outside and be our authentic selves, which we should be. We should be proud of the fact that we are women. We have feminine energy. We are slower. We need naps. Our biological clock is different. We have a circadian rhythm that we just need a lot of rest. We should be proud of that, and we should be embracing that. But I find that even myself included, that I went into competing with the men. I went into competition with my partner, with myself also, and trying to prove myself that I am better, I can be validated. But then it came at a lot of pain. And also, the more you do it, the more you realize that you will not be able to, you are just somehow like being a copy of other people, further and further away from who you should be like. Okay, so whether you are single, you probably be dating, trying to find the right man, or whether you are already married, but you are still fighting with your husband all the time. Okay, or you are also even if not fighting, you're probably parenting, you're mothering, but you can also be hustle mothering. Okay, hustle mothering, competing, showing through your children that this is hi Casey, hi. Okay, showing through your children that all of my work is through them, and using them as like a trophy. We unconsciously, actually, all of these, it's not like, okay, I want to have them as my trophy. All of these is all unconscious. Okay, and it distances you from the whole mothering experience. It distances you from feeling true love with your children, especially, which is a big topic that I'll be talking with my upgraded content. Motherhood was actually a beautiful experience for me, but it wasn't beautiful at the start. Okay, it wasn't beautiful at the start. It was only like in the past couple of months, I was like, wow, I'm at this stage where I feel so euphoric. I feel so abundant and bountiful of love with my children, and they ripple that to me. Like, we are just like an amplification of true, authentic love. And that was when I realized that, hey, actually, that getting out, I would want to share with women about where I was, which I wasn't like that, okay, and to where I am today, to actually show you the power of why being a, moving towards and being a growing internally, it matters much more than what we have on the outside, like Chanel bags and Birkin bags, okay. So a high vibration woman, who she is, she doesn't chase, okay, she doesn't chase clients, she doesn't chase money, she doesn't chase the man, she just bees, okay, she just sits down and be. But it's so difficult right now in our society. We are all, especially in Singapore, there's a very fast-paced world. We are all brought up to be very like, okay, what's the next result? What's the next test? What's the next grading? What's the next degree that I'm going for? What's the next master? What's the paper chase? What's the next job? What's the next promotion that I'm going for? It's always going for the next. But the going for the next, especially for the inner woman, is very different. I'm always upgrading to the next level when I have outgrown my past. Okay, and it's just a natural cycle for you to shed away, who you were previously, okay, and in the end, it is being who you are authentically, and that feeling of being authentic is very, very relieving. It's like I don't have to put on a front when things are not working out. I don't have to show that I have everything put together, the ego, right? I don't have to show anybody anything. And if let's say people they end up mocking me, or they end up belittling me, I have that emotional resilience not to take in their projection, and that itself is a very powerful skill set that I have honed. I took years to actually hone in that. Okay, trigger by trigger, I was clearing, I was healing, and every time when you thought that you actually the work is over, that something comes up again. Okay, so being this high vibration woman is actually somebody where you're very at inner peace with yourself. And not only you're at inner peace even when there's chaos on the outside, like your children can be screaming, you can be having fights with your husband, but you still feel very serene from within. You can be, when you're dating a man, he can like ghost on you, and you just, okay, like this actually shows me like what kind of man he is. I wasn't like that. I wish I kind of knew all those when I was dating actually, but I didn't. All of my journey only began like after motherhood. So that's why motherhood was a very healing experience for me. So the 5 ways, I'll probably take the next 3 weeks to slowly dig in, but I'm not going to like rush in every of the steps. I'm going to take the time to even throw in my own experience, because I feel that theory is theory, like what is on paper is on paper, but eventually people want to hear about how you have overcome it yourself, right? How you have overcome it yourself. So all these were all like, I wouldn't say battle scars, but I would say that all these were things that I had to go through and learn from myself. So that's why I actually want more women to be more awakened that there is this inner state of being. There is this whole universe where you don't have to chase, you don't have to validate, you don't have to prove. And it's like, I get to be myself. I get to sit. I get to choose. And if I don't get to, and if it doesn't come along, I know something better is gonna come along. That trust, that faith from within is so powerful that even when things on the outside shake, even when money disappears, even when your bank account dropped to like never before, you still have that certainty. And that certainty is what attracts abundant opportunities for this type of women. Abundant opportunities, like people will come to her providing help without her asking. And she has this capacity to receive love and support from people, from her environment, without resentment, even when people did her wrong in the past. Okay, so she chooses. She doesn't settle, she aligns. She's always going for first class. She's always going, not in first class, not as in first class like going for a Chanel ticket, Chanel bags, but of course that's nice to have. But she's always going for what is her first choice. Like for example, if her first choice is to have time for herself, she's not going to sit around and wait for somebody to take her out. She's going to take herself out, and she's going to wear the nicest clothing for that. And yes, I did that. For example, she's not going to sit around and wait for people to put her on top. Like if her partner says that I will come to you. Right now my priority is on the kids. I'm going to come back to you in 4 years when the kids have grown. She's like, No, I'm not going to sit around and wait for you to treat me right. I'm going to start treating myself right, and I'm going to start expecting that from you. And the thing is that she doesn't expect with that kind of dominance and control. She knows that everybody have their own path to walk. Everybody have their own timing, and it's something that you can't force. It is a timing that is only decided by the universe, by God. So she hold herself, walk on her own path at her own timing. So she's not going to withhold somebody else and their timing as well. Okay, she's going to give to other people what she had. If she had time, she's going to give that to other people. And that can only come about when she has that boundaries for herself. Knowing that, and not having savior mentality, not having like, oh, I can see it, you're walking down my path, I need to help you, and if not you're going through a lot of pain. She's not going to do that. She's going to she's going to sit at the side and know that if the person actually open his mouth or her mouth and ask for help, she's going to come in with the wisest wisdom. But otherwise, she will just sit back and let the universe take care of that. Because everybody have all their karmic debts, their yin and yang. Everybody have all their past life to pay for. And she can't be the one controlling, and she knows that. She knows that. Okay? So a high vibration woman is somebody that is very aligned with in all areas of her life. You don't see her just being successful in her career, but having shitty health, or fighting with her partner all the time. She is having a lot of alignment in all areas of her life. Whatever that success that she sees in her health is what the success that she sees in her inner state of being, like the way she handles conflict, the way she handles truth. Like even when her voice shakes, okay, she still asks for what she wants, because that is the truth. And sometimes people are not willing to face up to that. They project on her, they throw bombs at her, they attack her, they comment on her, they speak about her behind her back, they gossip. But that's not her issue to take. Okay, she doesn't go in trying to justify, trying to over-explain, over-give, trying to be the nice person and make people like her. She knows that all she needs to do is to stand up for what she believes in, say what she has to say, and everything else will all be taken care of elsewhere. Okay? So again, she aligns in all areas of her life. She's always introspecting to, I have cleaned up already, like I have, there's something missing in my communication with my partner. Why are we always arguing? Is it because that why are we always going in circular arguments? Is it because I'm not speaking truthfully? Am I being triggered all the time that I will be pulled into his arguments? Am I spending too much time over explaining? Like, why is this happening? She investigates, and she has the courage to clean up. Okay, so you would not see the high vibration woman just having success in one area of her life, and then in other areas of her life she's struggling. Like so many successful career women have that when they are at the top in the corporate, but when they go home, their kids have developmental problems. They have teenage problems. They cannot communicate themselves properly because mommy is always out of the home. Or like and she brings them to the finest doctors, but the only thing that the treatment that they need is mommy's presence, is mommy's emotional presence, mental presence, to be able to talk to them, to be able to solve their problems together, to make them feel seen and heard. That is the medicine more so than the finest doctors. Okay, so you will see that the high vibration woman is somebody that has success in all areas of her life. Like she has good health. Her habits reflect that. She has great relationships with people. Is very authentic, genuine. People flock to help her. She has a purpose. She has a sole purpose in her work. It's not just like working to pay off debts. No, it's not working just to pay off money. She's actually, it's very meaningful to her. It drives her purpose, drives her soul, and she also has love on the side, whether is it a partner or whether is it a husband or a boyfriend or her children that pour a lot of love. And especially if you are a mother listening to this conversation, which I hope you are. Hi Kai, hi, nice to see you. Which I hope you are. And then please tune in, because motherhood is actually so much more than what we had from what our parents gave us. Okay, motherhood is so much more from what our parents gave us. Okay, and we are actually in a great stage where we can bring in and we can bring up our children so much more conscious, so much more aware, especially in terms of emotional, social development, not just academics, and all these areas are all aligned, provided that ourselves we are aligned. Okay, provided ourselves that we are aligned. So she aligns herself in all aspects of her life, and even if it means putting money on hold just to fix her health, just to fix her mental state of being, just to fix her inner state of it, she does it anyway. And I did that. Okay, I put money on hold because at some point it just didn't make any sense and gave me any satisfaction when I was being sick every 6 weeks, when I was coming back from insurance appointments and fighting with my partner, when I was feeling so distant from my child. Even when I'm sitting next to him, I have all this mental chatter in my head. It just didn't make sense to me how much my bank account I had. So I took that necessarily I put my job on hold. I went full straight into coaching. Understood what coaching was. I understood about trauma, shadows, inner work, and all these things helped me to align what I had from within, so that I can clean up all the other areas of my life. I started having healthier habits. I started throwing away all these limiting beliefs that we all grew up with. Like, we have to chase after money, we have to chase after success, we have to chase after, like, we have to sacrifice our health for money. Like, I started investigating all of these beliefs, only to realize that it was being brought forward from, of course, past generations and the society's narrative as well. Okay, so raising our vibration isn't just about, again, the beginning, it's not about being positive. In fact, you feel so deeply. Exactly, because you feel so deeply, you have cried your eyes out, you have felt sorrow, you have felt despair, you have felt regret, you have felt all feelings on that spectrum, and that makes you incredibly empathetic. That's why people are somehow drawn to you. People want to speak to you because they know that you have gone through all that spectrum of emotions, having emotional resilience, and still coming up surviving. Okay, so that is very powerful emotional resilience, which a high vibration woman has. Okay, and that is also the reason why, like, people are drawn to her, like children are drawn to her, because of her pure energy. And I mean, I was also from there where I had to I was also from there where I had to, hi Susian, yeah, where I also had to put on that mask, have to pretend like everything is all okay, even though I'm shivering on the inside. I feel anxious, like taking my A levels. It was a wreck, it was so painful. I study, and I gave up. Just being so alone and studying all the time, and then in the end my grades weren't fantastic. Okay, in the end I still made it to uni anyway to study a subject that I eventually loved, but that whole experience of being alone and not being supported wasn't something that I wanted to repeat. But I found myself consciously repeating that unsupportive environment. And then went into a job where also I even colleagues all that weren't fantastic, bosses and so on. And then of course landed myself in insurance for 9 years. And then it came to a point where I decided, like, what is shaping this perception? What's stopping me from receiving support? And then it was this whole thing about ego. It was this whole thing about, we cannot accept help. If not, we are weak. If I ask people for help, I will lose face, like a lot of Asian stereotypes and mindset, which I don't know came from where. I started investigating all of them laboriously, tediously, one by one, all of it, to just erase them from my system, erase them from my belief system, because I do not want that in my life anymore. Okay, and what you have on the inside is reflected on the outside. And then I started to realize my reality started to shift. I started to build communities. I started to find myself drawn towards groups of women who were so giving, who were so generous. And that also rippled to my personal life, where, my relationship with my friends, my close friends, my sisters, my people around me started giving me a lot of support, and I welcomed them with open arms. And that's exactly what they say they love. They say that, Lydia, like when they give me support, like I'm so real, I'm so authentic that if I want, I say yes. If I say no, I really don't want. There's no fakiness around it. And I'm so glad to be at that stage because having support, receiving support is our birthright. It's what we as women, we should be like. It's in our DNA. It's just that we have been, brought up with unconscious masculine wounding, okay, and even men themselves also deserve support, but they have also been told that you cannot receive. If not, it shows that you can't do it. I have to put on this face, this mask where I have it all, but actually we are all human. We are all human. We feel scared, we feel fearful, we feel nervous, we break down, but we cannot show the world that we break down. Like, how sad is that? Okay, how sad is that? And especially for the woman, after many years, it just builds up over time as like layers and layers upon her, until her soul hardens, her femininity is lost. She lost her intuition because she's no longer connected to her feelings. She's no longer connected to who she is as a woman. And that's when she becomes functioning like a man, but very alone. She can have all the money, but she feels unsupported. She feels like even if she needs help, she doesn't have that trust within herself. And you're just going through life, the motion, going through every challenge with like that gritness. You can never let go. Okay, and even all the way until like life ends for her. Okay, so the whole point about raising vibration is not to put on any more things on like positivity or whatsoever. It is exactly the opposite, that we release all of this unconscious masculine wounding that we have seen from our fathers, from our brothers, and even for the women when we were growing up. Even seeing our mothers hustle at home, who probably saw her mother hustling at home, and that is like the symptom of like a perfect mother, that she's supposed to overgive. She's supposed to keep working non-stop from like 6 a.m. She's the first one to wake up, but she's the last one to sleep. She's always like thinking and overthinking and anticipating for everybody's needs, that when another woman comes along, that doesn't anticipate needs, that is like, you can do things by yourself, right? That particular woman who doesn't over anticipate is seen as selfish, is seen as mean, demanding, bossy, and like, who does she think she is? Arrogance. Like, I had that. Okay, arrogance. The little boy who watches a mother overgive, overcompensate, over-anticipate, controlling everybody's moves at home, including relationships, just so to have peace, is that exact same man who will grow up finding another woman who either overcompensates again and stuck in that cycle, okay, shaping the next generation for his sons to see a woman giving up herself for the family. And giving up yourself for the family is seen as a badge of honor. Is seen as like a badge of good mother. Is seen as a badge of this is what it means to be a good mother. That anything else that deviates from that is bad parenting, is bad mothering, is arrogance, it's being lazy, is being all these negative meanings. But when that woman is just purely standing up for what she believes in, she's just purely standing up for what she believes in. And it's very tough. It is very tough because we are expected to overgive, we are expected to overcompensate, we are expected to be flexible with our boundaries. That the moment we decide to have firm boundaries, we are seen as demanding, bossy, selfish. But our energy is sacred. Our energy is sacred. Okay? Let me see how long I've spoken about already. Okay, let's see. Okay. I think it's pretty long already. So just to round up, if there's any two shifts I mentioned in my whole conversation earlier on, is that she honors her energy as sacred. That is the number one thing that you can start off right now, that she honors her energy as sacred. And being someone like myself, where I have my time, my energy, by being, if you actually study human design, I have I actually have the least energy, right? Least energy, human design type, is that not everything or everyone deserves access to time, body, or emotions. Like even we guard our emotions so well that people's projection, hey, thank you, bonjour, yeah, au revoir, yeah, that even when she honors her, what did I say? Even her emotions is inaccessible, in the sense that when people try to project their negative feelings on her, she's unavailable. To make ourselves be emotionally unavailable to projections, to negativity, is a skill set that we have to master, because nobody taught us that. We were not brought up in generation of women, because it was exactly the opposite. That women were taught to overcompensate, overgive, over anticipate, that I have to like think 2-3 steps ahead for somebody else, and if not, I inconvenience people, I'm seen as like not feminine. If I start like saying that this is what I want, people actually are startled by your directness and clarity, which I had that when I was growing up. Okay, I had that when I was growing up. I think even when I was with my husband, and then of course everybody around us is all the traditional female stereotype, and I was the only one who's like, okay, anybody wants that piece of meat, if not, I'm gonna take it, or like I'm just like gonna go for it, and everybody's like, whoa, who's this person? I'm like, is there what? Like, I want it, I take it. It's the same goes for anything that I want in life. Like, I want it, I take it. Okay. She honors her energy as sacred. Not everybody has her access to her time, body, and emotions. But to be able to set powerful boundaries is something that we have to deal with, because people are going to be upset. People are going to call selfish. People are going to say that, hey, you're not being a good mother. You're not being a good partner. You are supposed to be like endlessly patient. You're supposed to be endlessly giving. And then eventually the woman herself is going to burn out. The woman herself is going to be the one feeling resentful, going to be having like 20 years of resentment, and then she's going to spiral into anxiety or depression. And then in the end, it's her who suffer, not the people around her. She has to sacrifice herself. She has to put herself, it's like Joan of Arc, right? She has to put herself on the stake burning just so everybody else can be happy. And let's just erase that. Let's just move away and like completely make that narrative obsolete. We have to make that narrative obsolete. If not, our sons will grow up watching or like, getting attached to a woman who also overgives, to create the next generation of girls who then also follow their mothers to overgive, to overcompensate, to over-anticipate, to over-control, so that they are seen as good partners, good mothers, good wives. Okay, and lastly, which brings me to the next second point, she leads with self-love, not self-sacrifice. Okay, we have enough of self-sacrifice. We have enough of being called selfish when just because we prioritize our health. But women, our biology just works in a way that we have more to give when we are full. That's it. Okay, there is nothing to be apologetic about it. I don't even think, I'm not even sure whether that is just a woman or just a human need. But we just are so much better when our cups are full. A very good testimony to it was November, December to early January. I wasn't at my best because I was so emotionally drained out at home, physically drained out at home with sickness, as well as being tied up with the kids. All the time, like every day I'm just at home, like I am teaching over again, like I'm making food, I'm cleaning up, like it just repeats the cycle that like my time just flew by. And towards the end, I think like after 2 months, I found myself like very resentful. So that was the reason why, like when my son actually went into primary 1, and then I finally had the mornings to myself, I started doing, like, instead of diving into work, which again is another source of outlet for our energy, I poured a lot of energy to my own my journaling, my meditation. I started mapping out like what do I want this year, what is stopping me, how in what areas of my life is holding me back, how am I self-sabotaging myself with my own mindset even. How am I not being my best self? How and then of course topping up with a lot of self-love, like going out by myself, or going to the gym, signing up for membership, and going back to the gym once again, eating healthily nourishing food. So self-love is something that comprises, it's not just what we have on the outside, it's not pretty clothes. You will also find that those women who actually have compensate their lack sometimes by overbuying on the outside, and it doesn't make up for the gap that they feel inside. It doesn't make up for the gap that the tiredness that they feel, the drain that they feel because they can't say no, they feel guilty saying no. There's so many layers of negative emotions just in order for us to say no. So we lead ourselves first with self-love, because that would actually lead the children to be able to prioritize themselves. The children will also know that I have to take care of myself first before I take care of other people. And that was actually a lesson that I taught my son. He was sharing with me that he felt like he was giving a lot to a friend that who wasn't reciprocating him. And that was when I said that you have to make sure that you yourself, you have a lot of energy first from within, and only then you start giving to people. And I actually use like empty cups to symbolize for him, like you cannot pour from an empty cup. It goes the same for mommy as well. And that's also the reason why even when I'm around him, I also say that mommy needs a break, like I need mental break. Okay, can you go and do your own things for a while? And that's actually very healthy boundaries to be teaching our children, because they will grow up seeing that mommy needs space, I can be independent. And exactly because I give her space, I respect other people's space as well. How we want other people to treat us is how we treat other people. Okay, so there's a whole ton of other stuff that I can't go on to say enough, but I think I've already spoken for 30 minutes. But she leads with self-love and not sacrifice. Like, self-sacrifice is actually an obsolete narrative that belong to the past, and that is not what we should be having forward, especially if we are women who want to work, we want to have money, we want to have actually everything, we want to feel fulfilled on the inside. It's not just about money, it's about having a purpose, it's about having a job, or like whatever work that makes us motivated, that feels so fulfilling on the inside. It's just something that money can't buy. And if you taste that sense of purpose, it's a taste that you can never forget. It's a taste of like, yes, every time I do this, I know this is in my right direction. I know this is my right direction, and I'm gonna continue going on it. Like this is it. Okay, like this is it. All right. So that's just two things. Okay. Honors her energy as sacred and leads with self-love, not self-sacrifice. Let's not talk about. We don't have to go against and fight the system. Okay, whatever that has been structured masculine wise is something that is in permeates all areas of our lives, including our unconscious patterns that we grew up. But let's just start creating our own new narrative about leading with self-love, and self-love not in a sense of just on the outside, but mentally, mindfully, emotionally, physically. And once I realized that, I started feeding myself with fresh fruits and vegetables, and like so pure, and drinking lemon water, started waking up, journaling, my life got so much cleaner. My mind became cleaner. I became so much happier, and I believe my kids were the ones who benefited from it. They bounce back to me, Mommy, I love your time with me. I feel so loved. I feel so appreciated. I give even more to them. And it's just an amplification of love, because we are both vibrating at our purest energy of love. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Okay, catch me next week. It's going to be Chinese New Year, but nonetheless, I'm going to still be up and sharing a lot on the other 3 parts. Actually, there's going to be 5 shifts, right? Every high vibration woman embodies, but I will be sharing the other 3. I don't think I can cover all 3 anyway, but you'll be going to be filled with lots of examples like what I shared, the reasons behind masculine structure, and all these things, which are a lot more deeper than what high vibration equals to like super happy all the time. That's completely not true. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Oh, 40 minutes.